Judgment Day for a man from Baltimore County convicted of a federal crime that prosecutors call shockingly violent. Donte Stanley will spend decades in prison now after a carjacking and kidnapping an employee at a check cashing store who prosecutors say was left tortured and for dead. WJZ investigator Mike Calgren live at the federal courthouse downtown with more on his sentence tonight. Mike, good evening.
Good evening, Rick. Good evening, everybody. The judge was blunt, and he said in a city full of carjackings, you rarely see things like this. The planning, the torture of an innocent victim, he called it grotesque, depraved, and reprehensible. But he did give the defendant some grace. He could have sentenced him to life in prison. Instead, he got 25 years. You're looking at the police vests, fake badges, and zip ties a group of men used in a series of kidnappings and robberies federal prosecutors called deeply disturbing. A judge found Donte Stanley guilty of one of them, a crime prosecutors describe as horrific. They say in May of 2021, he and a co-defendant targeted their victim because of her job at a check cashing store on Patterson Avenue, not far from Reisterstown Road Plaza. According to the indictment, they put a tracker on her car to surveil her, pulled her over using flashing lights, posing as police officers, then handcuffed and blindfolded her and drove around for hours. During that time, Stanley's co-defendant tortured the victim with a blowtorch. Then, prosecutors wrote they all but left the victim for dead, extensively burned, still handcuffed, blindfolded, and face down on the rear floorboard of her vehicle, which they covered with a tarp and secured with bungee cords. The victim forced her way out of her vehicle and ran to a nearby residence where she pleaded for help. During her horrifying ordeal that lasted for more than 5 hours, the victim told the judge, "I suffered severe burns that left visible and permanent scars on my body. These injuries not only affected my physical health, but also my emotional well-being and self-esteem. Since the attack," she wrote, "I have lived with anxiety, depression, insomnia, and a constant feeling of fear and insecurity." She says the psychological consequences have been devastating. Now, the victim did not come to court today. She said that was just too much for her to do. The defendant did address the judge. He says he maintains his innocence, but he is sorry for what happened to the victim and praying for her recovery. His attorneys had asked for mercy based in part on his troubled childhood. They say he was manipulated by the ringleader of this plot, who ended up getting 40 years in prison earlier. Reporting live in your corner downtown, Mike Calgren, WJZ.